Hello, welcome to AskMe Mondays, streaming in the Facebook group. If you want the full experience of the slideshow that I'm about to present, join the Facebook group, which the link is in the bio, or you can go to freemicroloctraining.com/join. That'll get you in the Facebook group as well. And I have some questions for the Ask Me Monday that I would like to answer first. So it goes with the little presentation I have. Hope everyone had a good weekend. Let me know you see me. Let me know where you're from. And feel free to post any questions that you have in the chat, and I will get to them. So I had a good question that came in. Well, I don't know if you can see if I make it that size. I may make it this size. And so the question I had was, hello, I would like to know the best ways to moisturize microlocs. And then she had a second question, which I'll get to at the end. She wanted to know if there are any classes for self-retie in Georgia. So I'll handle that first question first, and then I'll give some information after. Hey. So moisturizing is that's such a common question. And I always preface this question by saying, when you enter into the lock world, specifically the small, or I call micro locks, it is even a different world from the traditional locks. You have to approach almost everything that we've done differently, because now we are working with the very thing that we were taught to avoid as a child. We didn't want our hair nappy. We didn't want our hair dry. We wanted to make sure we had a whole bunch of products and things going on. But a lot of the techniques and things we did then will be counterproductive to the locking process for its optimal results. But there are things that you can do, and there are the ways to achieve the same result that someone may be looking for. Very little product is needed to actually have shiny locks. In this picture, there's no product on this hair. It's just a set, and then a couple days later, you see the same curls. Curls were set with water. Obviously I talk about adding nutrients, adding a little bit of like a natural plant or nut or seed-based oil is fine, but you still have to know how and when to apply that. So I think the goal that people are talking about when they're asking for moisturized locks is really about having supple, soft, possibly shiny, not shiny, but healthy looking, not dull, not ashy looking, not full of buildup. You want clean, beautiful, soft, supple locks, and that retain moisture. So in order to do that, you do not need to slather on or coat the hair with any products, right? You don't need to do that. You can keep your hair from being excessively dry. I'm going to show you here what I mean. Okay, so this is a picture of a install, her natural shine, but no products are ever needed to even install these. So I actually recommend not using any product. When we're talking about keeping moisture, I'm going to talk about it in a different way. So very little to no product is needed. The best results that I've seen on people, and including myself, the best results were when we used basically nothing except for washing our hair, keeping it clean, keeping your scalp clean. So I just have some examples here of no product-free moisturized locks. Right? Hers is a set. This is like one of my first photo shoots of my clients. This is 2013. This is old. But the results are still the same. I still do the same style on my own hair. No product needed. Has shine, is soft and supple. So I have 4 healthy ways to moisturize microlocs. The top 4. There are ones that I've used, ones that I think provide great results. So the first one is sealing in moisture after washing. Obviously, water is moisture, and we know oil seals it in. I seal it in with the natural oil, which I'll tell you about in a minute. But I seal it, make sure that's when I really feel like I can seal in the moisture. And then afterwards, I might apply some oil to the scalp later on, like a few days later or whatever. The second is steam treatments. But steam treatments must be used with caution. They should not be used at every stage of the process, and particularly not used in the beginning. But if your hair is more matured and more locked, steam treatments are, I think it's a great way to, combining that with a hot oil treatment is a great way to get some moisture really infused throughout the whole shaft of the hair. So I don't do it often, but if I do a steam treatment, it's occasionally, and it's most likely being done in the winter when the environment is harsh and cold. The third way is by spritzing with water. If your hair is further along the line, well, actually, pretty much any stage, it's not harmful to spritz your hair with water. But also know, we have natural oils that release from our scalp. So you don't want to be excessive with any water trying to moisturize. You want your scalp to produce oils and things like that, but you can also add water on top of it. It's okay, as long as you are balancing it out. The last most important thing is to drink plenty of water. Obviously, it's from internally. People are dehydrated or people are having something going on medically, their hair can become dry and brittle. So you actually do want to get checked out, make sure that everything is okay. If you're experiencing like excessive dryness, excessive brittle, hair that's breaking. Excuse me. So those are the top 4 ways that I would say to keep your hair. So, but remember, you do make natural oils. We tighter coils, that the issue is that the oil doesn't go all the way to the ends. So when you're doing a lot of things, I always tell people to make sure you do get the ends of your hair if you're sealing in moisture. Don't neglect it. Don't just focus on the scalp. Get the whole entire strand, the whole shaft of the hair. And so I have my favorite natural ways to soften and condition microlocs. The first I love is tea rinsing. Now, tea has a lot of properties, natural tea, that can be balancing to pH, that can help increase softness and shine. And so I'm a fan of doing that after a wash. If way back in my post years ago, I showed myself doing a few tea rinses. I showed how I steep the tea, how I wash the hair, and then I would pour the tea onto the hair, and how that process is, if you care to scroll forever. But otherwise, I'll do another. I have more info on tea rinsing if you're interested, and what type of tea to use and how often you should do it. But that's a very helpful thing. And that's a way of conditioning, right? I also love avocado mask or banana mask. I know it may sound weird to some people, but I like natural products. Natural products have a ton of great oils. Avocado is a great oil. And you can take those things and actually use that as well in a natural way. You have to use it during the proper time of your hair locking process. But in the past, I took the avocado, I put it in a blender. You can add banana, you can add different things. I have a link to a free natural recipe book. If you're still watching, I'm going to share that link. You just click on it, you can download. It's called Plant-Based Hair. It has a bunch of natural recipes for hair and locks that I approve for the locking process. But that is a way where I actually slept with it overnight and I washed my hair the next day, and my locks were soft. But you have to make sure, I had to make sure, like, avocado has like strings or something in it. So I had to make sure that I got all of that out. But it left my hair feeling just really good. It's no chemicals, nothing artificial, as long as you're not allergic to the natural product. I would caution you not to do this early in your process. Don't do this if you're 3 months. Don't do this don't worry about that. Right now, you want your hair to lock. This is for more advanced people who seem to have, our hair seems to be drier. When we're more mature, we can do these kind of treatments. Hot oil treatment is one of my favorite things to do. Shameless plug, behind me, you can't see me on Instagram, but behind me on the shelf, I have a hair oil that I use in hot oil treatments, but you can make your own. And there's a recipe in the book. You can literally blend in some castor or grapeseed or jojoba, whatever you like, and you can create a oil that you can use in a treatment And the purpose of the hot oil treatment, once again, combined with moisture, it really penetrates deeper into the shaft of the hair. It really gets in there, and it leaves your hair moist. It feels soft and it feels nourished. So I combine some essential oils in there that's really good and healthy for our scalp and healthy for us. Yeah. So, like I was saying before, you can get the free ebook. If you like, you just go to naturalbeautyresources.com, and there's a lot of resources there, even for the hot oil, for the oil, if you like. But it's a free ebook on there, just in case. Hi, joining in. And so she had another question about classes and self-retie classes. Absolutely. Our self-maintenance and self-retightening classes took off, especially when pandemic started. We launched in January 2020, and then everything shut down in March and April. So that's actually a big component of Microloc Mastery is the self-maintenance. The whole mission is to empower people to have the skills and information to start, maintain, and have the results of their hair, the best results possible. So we have that. If you want to check anything out, you can go to microlocmastery.com, and that's where we have our other resources, classes, certification, blogs, etc. So I want to see if there's any questions. Okay, I see some questions coming in here on. So I'll start with, are coffee rinses good for softening and conditioning locks? So I'm gonna tell you that I'm not the coffee is not something that I use, but I've heard. I think the caffeine is the element in the coffee that provides the benefit, but I'm not a complete expert on that. I haven't used coffee, so I can't tell you firsthand if that's going to be a really good remedy. But I do know that coffee does have some beneficial uses. So I would say, tea is my go-to for softening, conditioning locks, because tea, they're usually leaves. They're leaves that can also become essential oils and herbs. So chamomile is a tea that I like. But you can use different types of tea. I think chamomile is probably one of my favorite. And another question here is, what do you use for itching? Okay, so depending on the stage of your hair, new installs, I tend to find that people itch more probably within the first 6 months, like the very beginning, maybe the first year. But 99% of the people that I've serviced, that has subsided after that. And almost, if they had like scalp issues, dandruff issues, I'm not saying don't go to a dermatologist, go to a doctor if you have excessive anything. But for mild, normal, average cases, a lot of that subsided, because what was happening was some people used a lot of products. They were product junkies with their natural hair, or they just used products that were pretty heavy. Some of the products have things in it that aren't 100% natural. That also interrupts your own scalp's way of releasing oil, responding to the environment. I used to call it a moisture retention. I used to have this term I use. I can't remember it right now for some reason. But your scalp is living, it's breathing. So it produces things as it needs to. You interrupt that when we use a lot of things that are like, it's basically coating, suffocating your scalp. So what I'm saying that all to say is that when you starving your scalp and your initially when you're, I don't know, I'm assuming, you can tell me what stage of locking you're in, but I'm assuming you might be in the beginning, but if you're not, then it might be a different issue. But if you're in the beginning process, it could be that transition that's happening. And you'll see, I had a lot of dandruff before I got locks. I used a lot of product. I went through the process, and then I watched almost every single client of mine. That's hundreds of people go through similar processes from install. And that's why I can say from my interactions, a lot of it was due to the change of the product and allowing their hair and scalp to do what it needs to do. If it's excessive, well, you also need to keep your scalp clean of dirt and oil. Nothing should ever interrupt you cleaning your hair. You should never be instructed not to wash your hair. You can wash your hair. Please wash it as you need to, but also no overwashing it can also lead to dryness. You don't want to wash away all the good stuff. So you got to find a balance. So if your hair is clean, you're not using product, but something's going on, you might want to see if anything's going on. But I also have I okay light oil usage on the scalp, especially. That's natural. That's nice. It's nourishing. So if you find that your scalp is a little dry, you can add a little bit of oil to the scalp, natural oil to the scalp. Obviously, consult with your loctician. I don't know exact circumstances of your hair to say absolute anything, but if that doesn't remedy it, or some time goes by and it gets worse, then you might need to go check. But if you give it time, it should get better. You're in the beginning of the yeah. So it sounds like you're going through that transition that most people go through, and give it some time. Keep your hair and scalp clean, and minimize the use of products. Actually, don't do too much other than a light oil. You asking more than one question. Let me hop around. I see some questions on Instagram. I'll answer your questions though. I don't have. I want to make sure that. When do you recommend self-retire if interested? I'm not as comfortable with their loctician. Okay. I always feel like a year is a good amount of time to go through a process, installation process with the same. Hopefully, if it's a good loctician, I recommend people staying for that first year. And when I do a consultation, I highly advise people to stay, be able to make a commitment for a year. That allows a good skilled loctician to create and nurture the foundation that they created and help your coax your locks through the process properly. At that year point would be more appropriate than to do a self-retire if you're planning it out. Obviously, things happen like coronavirus and COVID. Things happen sometimes where you have to figure out how to do your own hair. So at that point, I think any stages. But I think if your hair is further along in the locking process, the better. You can learn how to do repair and refinement, but it's so much better when there's a skilled professional doing it for you. So no matter how skilled I was or thought I was, I always made an appointment before my mentor completely stopped, to sit in her chair and have her do a retightening or two. And I tell her, do some grooming, look for repairs, just make sure everything's good. So even though I was self-retightening, there are some things that you can't see back here. You can't maybe properly, it's too much, it's too complicated. So I would say when your hair is a little more down the locking process, if you can plan it that way, that would be best. But if you need to, as soon as you can, anytime would be fine, as long as you get the support you need to address issues. You're a self-taught braider, feet and knotless have always, okay. So you're good with hair, so that's good. You're welcome. There's a question here. Can we apply your method of influence locks on any size locks in lock starter? Yep. So y'all know probably, if you don't know, I am very adamant about locks this size being started with a certain technique. And doesn't mean that we can't learn the techniques to help repair or refine or maintain locks started in any other way. So, and any size. So that was the whole purpose, is that maintenance can be done with these techniques for anything. And I find a lot of repair. We've done a lot of repair. My team, the pros have done a lot of repair on people who started with, I'm going to be honest, with two-strand twists, or people whose installs maybe weren't developing properly, so they had to do repair work. We would use our same exact techniques to resolve all of that. We find ourselves closing up, tightening up, and making things consistent and even with the technique. So yes, that's why I always say, it's not to say one thing is better than the other. It's just to say the amount of repair or work that could possibly happen. I always recommend starting a certain way so that you could avoid that. But if you don't have a problem and you don't mind closing up and doing a lot of repair with these techniques, then you can use them for that. Great, Kendall, I would love to have you. I think that's it for my questions that I see here. Is there any other information you wanted me to put, any other links back for you to get your free ebook? So I love Naturally Beautiful Hair Care is my main business, and Microloc Mastery came out of that. So I'm about natural products. So that's why I like to give natural resources. But I was in the kitchen. I'm always in the kitchen mixing up some natural things. And so I felt like there's some recipes that people might want to try, but don't get to playing around if you're brand new and without consulting with your loctician. I don't want you messing up your hair or anything, but if you want to check it out, you can grab it. And also, if you want to grab the oil, you can. Shameless plug, but hey, I get questions a lot on it, and there are people that have given me great feedback from the oil. So I think if you're not trying to mix and do all that yourself, you can try the blend that I have with the essential oils, aromatherapy, everything to nourish your hair and scalp. All right. So I think that is it. The questions here. Any last questions before I go? If you're watching a replay, put replay in the comments. If you have any other questions or you want to submit questions, you can go to info@microlocmastery.com and put it on the slides. And you can put Ask Me Monday in the subject line, and you can put your question there. So that's how I'm pulling these questions. Sometimes people just ask random questions, but if you put Ask Me Monday, I'll be able to find it easier. All right. So I'm going to show you my oil too. I want you to see. It's the only oil I've ever used in my hair. So it looks like this. It's on naturallybeautifulhaircare.com. And it has grapeseed. So if you want to try to make this blend yourself, grapeseed, castor oil, jojoba, vitamin E, and neem oil, which is a stinky oil, but it's really good. And then I have essential oils of lavender, lemongrass, peppermint, rosemary, clary sage, and ylang ylang. So those are all proven to stimulate the scalp, promote hair growth and health and of your hair and scalp. All right. Thank you all for joining for your questions. I will see you again. Oh, also those who are in the boot camp, we are going to go. I'll see you again later, 8 p.m. tonight for day 1 of our boot camp, where we will talk about preparation and how to prepare your hair, how to prepare everything for the best result possible. All right. So we'll go into that. We have some handouts. We got a whole workbook. Make sure you check your email, log into your portal, and I will see you tonight at 8 p.m. Take care. Bye. I just ended IG. You have one more question? Okay. Since I didn't close, I'll take your one more question. So IG is not going to see it. You let me know your question while I shut this down. How do you, I don't want to share it. Oh, discard. Okay. You can ask your question. Okay. Should you use heavy oils for hot oil treatments? What's a heavy oil? What do you mean by heavy oil? The thing with hot oil treatments is that you are washing, well, the process that I use, you are washing the oils out. So you are allowing it to penetrate, you are allowing it to get in, and then you are you're washing it out. So it's deposited a lot of good things in your hair and it softened it up a bit. That's the purpose of the oil being hot, to penetrate best. But it should be able to be removed in a wash. So the heaviest oil that I know is castor. And I actually have that in my product. I don't use it alone, but I have that in my products. It all comes out fine. It's not oily. It doesn't lay the hair down if it's done properly. So, okay, pomegranate seed oil. I've never used pomegranate seed oil. That's a new one. What I would say, have you ever used pomegranate seed oil in your hair at all? What have you used it for before? But I don't see why you wouldn't be able to if it's a natural oil, number one, and you're doing the process correctly. Because you are coating your hair with it, but then we are doing the treatment and then we're washing it out. So it should be okay. But I wouldn't I would say, to try before. I don't, where did you get the pomegranate seed oil, in a hair store, or how did you get this concept? But I think you'll probably be okay. I'm telling you, I haven't personal experience, so I can't tell you for sure the result of it. But because it is natural, I don't really see it being a problem. Okay. Yes. Okay. Right. Well, if you do try it, can you let me know how it goes and how it works? But if this is what I want to say, if your locks are newer, though, don't use too much heavy anything. Really don't need to do a hot. I don't know if your locks are new or not, so I'm speaking to people whose locks are new. No need to worry about doing all this at this point. These are for more mature locks. Okay. Okay, we got it online. Okay, some oils do add softness. Correct. Yeah. Well, I look forward to hearing how it goes. And, oops, that's not what I wanted. There we go. So if you are, microlocmastery.com is the main website. Submit your questions to info@microlocmastery.com for next Monday, and I will put together another presentation and possibly pull out the mannequins. Well, depending on the question, okay? So if you want me to do something more in depth and have more visual, submit it in advance and I could prepare better, okay? Have a great rest of your day. Have a great weekend. Oh my God. It's Monday. Have a great week. And I'll see you next time.